Hey guys, Nick Wheeler here again at Wheeler Custom Knives. So in this video and the next couple, we're going to be going over the handle shaping on the Joe Paranee Fighting Bowie series. And in this first video, it's going to be mostly talking about sort of the how come and what for, the theory behind this style of handle. And so for you guys that are itching to see how it's done, this is kind of like in driver's ed when they make you look at the book before you get in the car. You're probably not going to want to hear it, but the thing is the theory is pretty important. And the reason I say that, I see a lot of guys that are they try to do this sort of sculpted handle style, and you can tell they were pretty much trying to copy what they saw in like a photo of, say, a Jason Knight knife, and they're going off what they can see in a two-dimensional photograph, and they get close but they don't quite get there, and that's because they're not putting enough emphasis on these. And that's the way a knife handle like this feels in the hand, and how it will truly make the knife handle. And so it's important to understand why we're doing this. At least I think so. So there are a couple big reasons why I like this handle style, why I do enough of it that I've they're sort of like become sort of a signature of mine. And first is aesthetics. I mean, I think if they're done right, I think that they look nice. I think they have nice flowing lines, and that really drew me to that. Like when I first was really getting serious, and I'd look at some of the very highly renowned mastersmiths' work and old knives annuals like Jimmy Kroll and Timothy Potier, and they had these flowing handles, and I just like, man, those are really cool. And then some of the newer crop of guys, some of my other heroes like Jason Knight, they come along and he just knocks the style out of the park, and I just fell in love with it, and I thought I really want to do that style and learn to do it well. And so I've spent a lot of years pursuing this style, and I don't want to use the word perfecting it, but improving the process, and then hopefully the end result as well, and achieving something that sort of has a signature Wheeler look to it. So that's the looks, but the thing is this is a form that follows function, because a handle that's a sculpted handle that's done really well, it will be very comfortable in the hand. It will quickly maneuver from one handhold to a different position, and it will offer a whole lot of security for the user. It's going to instill confidence in the guy that's handling this knife. That knife is going to stay in his hand. And that sounds kind of silly to say, but it's, when we're talking about a big fighting Bowie, especially 350 to 370 thousandths thick at the spine, having that confidence that that knife is not going to ratchet out of your hand is really important. So those are basically the reasons why. And then as far as like actually shaping it, I will do the whole thing. We're going to start. This is one of the knives that's totally true to form for what Joe and I discussed. It's a black G10 handle, and the blade's all done, guards all fit, everything's wrapped up for protection. And so this handle has been fit, epoxied all together with acrid glass, and it's been allowed to cure, so this thing's good to go. It's ready to shape. And if you're interested in seeing that, I'll show the whole process. And the thing is with that, I've never actually seen another man or woman shape a knife handle, especially one like this. And so the process I use is just stuff that I've come up with over the years, and maybe you will like it, maybe you won't. I don't know, but it's what the process I've come to use in my shop. And so we're going to start, like I say, with something like this. We're going to knock this thing down, and then we'll approach this, which is pretty much all roughed in. This is all powered grinding work, meaning the belt grinders and the disc sander. That's we can get this far there. And that brings me to the idea that I've had guys say, well, couldn't you crank out more knives if you did more emphasis on the grinders and less on the hand tools. And you absolutely could. If you were a stronger business-minded person than I am, and your main focus was the dollars and cents, you absolutely would want to do as much work on the grinders as you could and minimize the hand work, just to speed up your efficiency. But that's not the driving force for me. I am trying. I'm not going to say that I am, but I am trying to make world-class knives in the shop. I am attempting to make knives that are some of the best in the world, and I'm not one to toot my own horn. I would never say that I am. I would never try to convince you that I am. That's totally for everybody else, customers, to decide. But I'd be lying if I said that isn't what I'm striving for with what I do in the shop. And so that's what we're working towards. And with that in mind, you know, I don't worry as much about the time efficiency and the dollars and cents as I do about getting the end product that is what I have envisioned up here, and hopefully what the customers want to receive. So that's really what's important to me, and that's also why I had to go get a regular job. But anyway, and we have to factor in balance and all that good stuff, which I don't know that there's necessarily a tangible formula for that. It's just something that you pick up with time and feel. So hopefully I'm accomplishing that with what I do in my shop. So if you want to see the how, like this is how I do it, stick around. We're going to take that knife, we're going to rough it out on the grinders, we're going to get files, some hand tools, sandpaper, almost always the most important ingredient in the recipes in this shop, lots of elbow grease, and we will shape some of these handles and get them to what Joe and I intended. And it's like I said, it's a very much typical handle style for me. So if you want to see it, please stick around and we'll knock some of these out. So let's get started. I want to take a second to explain these patterns. I've had quite a few questions from guys asking, well, what's going on with that pattern? It's kind of weird looking. The thing with these is, in my opinion, it's very important to have a good starting point, and especially when we're talking about a fighting knife like this, it's really critical that our point placement in relationship to our guard, the drop of our handle, our swells, everything it's really critical how everything goes together. And so once you come up with a design that works, and especially if you're making multiples of it, it's important to be able to replicate that and get everything right on each one. And so it's important to me to be able to lay out my tang real clearly, where that's going to reside in the block, and then also how much our guard is canted or not. Those are all very important in how a knife like this handles. And so I make my patterns like this so I can lay out an accurate profile for the handle, and also know where my tang is, because the next thing we're going to do is go rough this out to the profile. And because we shoved as much tang into that handle as we could, we don't have a lot of room for air here. We're not going to have a whole ton of material left surrounding the top and bottom of this tang, so it's really important that we know where we're starting, we know where we're going, and where we're ultimately going to end up with this. So it's important to me to have an accurate layout like this. Take a look at some of these tools I use for laying out my handles. Machinists would know this as a surface gauge. Basically what they used before the days of height gauges with carbide tip. They had different points that they could put in here. I bought this one and made this little gizmo so that I could put mechanical pencils in here, so I can do pencil layout lines. And it's nice because it's very adjustable. It's got an adjustment screw for adjusting really minute amounts in your height of your pencil, and you can get these really cheap. I paid about $10 for this. It's an import one. I think they're probably more like 15 or 20 now. Before I had that. I actually made some of these, but I've kept them because I use them for other things. This is just a piece of angle iron, and I've got a block here that holds another mechanical pencil, and I've got a handle to adjust the height. I've got a slot machined in here so I can adjust the height of this. Obviously this one will reach fairly tall height because of the width of the angle iron. This is another one that I made. This one, I put a little more work into this one, but still very simple. Another piece of angle iron. I machined it so that it was true, and then I've got a block that holds a fine tip Sharpie, and then I've just got a knurled button on here that I can, and a slot in there, so I can adjust the height on this and then lock it into place. So they're very simple tools, but they work really well, especially coupled with a 1, 2, 3 block like this. And I'll show you how I use this with these here in just a second.